Nearly 1 in 3 female sailors serving on U.S. Navy destroyers leaves the service early. Life at sea is already demanding. Sailors work exhausting shifts, sleep in racks stacked 3 high, and move through corridors barely wide enough for one person. But for many women, the hardest part of life on a destroyer isn't the ocean, it's the environment around them. Some say daily life can feel like surviving inside a ship where privacy barely exists. Picture trying to do your job while constantly watching your back. Imagine having almost nowhere on the ship where you can truly be alone. For many women aboard America's destroyers, life at sea isn't just about operating the ship. It's about making it through another day without incident. Half a century ago, having female sailors on a U.S. Navy destroyer would have been unthinkable, but today, you can see them fully integrated into the fighting crew. Female sailors on U.S. Navy destroyers carry the same heavy responsibilities as their male shipmates, from navigating narrow channels and overseeing radar and communication systems to maintaining engines and manning weapons stations. There's no difference in duty or expectation when the call comes in for a watch-standing shift or an underway replenishment at sea. Integration on combatant ships is the product of decades of policy change and cultural evolution. Women started serving on combatant U.S. Navy destroyers in the mid-1990s, and over time, that service has expanded into nearly every specialty at sea. Women now make up about 20% of the total active-duty Navy force, including officers and enlisted personnel who serve on destroyers and other surface combatants. One striking example of this evolving force was aboard the Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer USS McCampbell, where at one point, women accounted for around 40% of the crew. This was higher than the average for most destroyers. Today, these female sailors are filling critical roles such as officer on the deck, engineering officer of the watch, tactical action officer, or even the commander, proving that gender plays no part in meeting the ship's mission demands. But life aboard U.S. Navy destroyers is relentless and intimate. That means all sailors are forced to live and work in close quarters with the same people every day. What does that mean for privacy concerns and daily living routines? Well, this is just one of the minor problems, as female sailors on destroyers also face the challenge of harassment and discrimination. Life under pressure. On the USS Bulkley in the early 2020s, what should have been routine naval life instead became a deeper command climate problem. Internal investigations into the destroyer revealed that sexual harassment had become alarmingly frequent, to the point where some women reported that this behavior felt normal. Across parts of the fleet, studies and surveys have shown that the problem is not isolated. In some deployments, as many as 75% of female sailors report experiencing harassment at some point during their service. In fact, the behavior was so common that some female sailors stopped reporting incidents, believing nothing would change or that speaking up might harm their careers. Data across the Navy shows that only about 28% of assaults are formally reported. For many, the calculation is simple. Reporting can make daily life more difficult rather than safer. Women who do report incidents have sometimes faced retaliation, including transfers, damaged reputations, or stalled promotions. In some cases, retaliation rates have been reported to exceed 30%. Once, a female sailor on the Bulkley described being physically grabbed and subjected to crude commentary by male shipmates during work in a normally professional space, with others casually joking about what would happen next. Some women aboard the ship reported enduring repeated unwanted comments about their bodies or male sailors discussing private parts in their presence. This wasn't an isolated report. Command climate surveys from this particular destroyer as early as 2021 showed low morale, distrust of leadership, and widespread frustration among the sailors, especially the women. Another high-profile incident happened in 2012 on the guided missile destroyer USS the Sullivans. where the commanding officer was relieved of command after several female crew members accused him of harassing women aboard the ship. The complaints included inappropriate remarks about women's bodies and unwelcome conduct that created a hostile environment for junior officers and enlisted personnel. Surveys across the wider fleet have shown that a significant percentage of women in the Navy report experiencing harassment at some point in their careers, and many don't come forward due to fear of retaliation or career stagnation. These conditions also affect long-term retention. Women leave the Navy at higher rates than men, particularly around the 7-year mark in their careers, a point when many sailors decide whether to remain in service long-term. This trend has real consequences for the military. Every trained sailor who leaves represents years of investment in training and experience, often costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Beyond the financial cost, it also represents the loss of capable personnel whose skills and leadership could have strengthened the fleet. This highlights ongoing issues with reporting and leadership and shows the challenges that female sailors face while on destroyers. But how do these female sailors live on U.S. Navy destroyers when surrounded by men? Sometimes the very men who discriminate against them or sideline them. Before we look into that, if you think our female sailors deserve better treatment on destroyers, type "Protect Our Heroes" in the comments below. Daily living routines. Life on a U.S. Navy destroyer, like the USS Thomas Hudner or USS Paul Hamilton, follows a non-stop 24-hour cycle. For female sailors, daily routines revolve around the same demanding operational schedule as everyone else on board, but the tight living conditions of a destroyer shape how they organize their time. The backbone of life at sea is the watch rotation. Female sailors stand watch just like their male counterparts, serving on the bridge, in the Combat Information Center, in engineering spaces, or other key stations throughout the ship. These watches can fall at any hour of the day or night, and usually last several hours, meaning sleep schedules are often irregular. A sailor might finish a midnight watch and only have a short window to rest before the next duty period. Between watches, female sailors fit in the essentials of daily life. Many head back to female berthing compartments to change uniforms, organize gear, or grab a few hours of sleep inside narrow racks stacked several high. Privacy is limited, but bunk curtains and small personal items help create a small sense of personal space. Simple routines like showering or getting ready for watch require careful timing. Destroyers have limited bathroom and shower facilities, so female sailors often coordinate with shipmates to avoid busy periods after major watch rotations. Meals provide one of the few moments when the crew gathers together. On the mess decks, female sailors eat alongside the rest of the crew during breakfast, lunch, dinner, or the late-night meal known as midrats. These meals are often quick, but provide a chance to relax, talk with friends, and briefly step away from the pressure of shipboard duties. When off-duty, female sailors use whatever time remains to rest, watch movies, study for advancement exams, or send messages to family. Even small moments, closing a rack curtain, listening to music, or sharing conversations with shipmates, become important parts of daily life during long deployments at sea. Life on a destroyer is always moving, whether you're a male or female sailor, and they are all given the same levels of responsibilities. But there's an unfortunate twist. It's not as easy as one might expect to be a female sailor on a destroyer. What are the kinds of challenges these female sailors face? Before we continue with this important discussion, I'd like to ask for your support. If this content matters to you, please subscribe and hit the like button. Your engagement helps us bring attention to issues our service members face. Challenges female sailors face. Female sailors joining the U.S. Navy over the past 3 decades have broken barriers and proven themselves in every watch station aboard destroyers. But beneath that progress, there's a persistent and stubborn set of challenges that go beyond knots, watches, or navigation reports. Gender-based discrimination and bias still shape the experience of many women at sea. Cultural stereotypes around gender can influence career advancement, mentorship, and respect from peers and leaders, making women feel they must prove themselves twice as hard to be taken seriously. Women remain a minority in naval ranks, making up about 1 in 5 active duty personnel, and often experience situations where their presence feels unwelcome or novel rather than normalized. That dynamic can play out in comments about physical ability, or in the way opportunities are offered or withheld. On many ships, the gender imbalance can be stark. In some units, men outnumber women by ratios as high as 4 to 1. That imbalance doesn't just appear in statistics, it shapes daily interactions and social dynamics. Speaking up about problems, including harassment or unfair treatment, can sometimes feel like confronting not just one individual, but an entire group that shares similar attitudes or assumptions. In some commands, female sailors have been sidelined in informal networks, less included in social cohesion, or overlooked for high-visibility tasks that lead to leadership roles. The tight-knit camaraderie that often develops among male sailors can unintentionally leave women isolated. Male sailors frequently form strong bonds through shared experiences and backgrounds, while women may struggle to find the same level of built-in support or protection within the crew. Surveys in the U.S. Navy have shown that a majority of women report experiencing gender-based discrimination or feeling alienated because of their sex, and many admit they are unsure how best to navigate or report such behavior. Leadership structures can also complicate the situation. Because senior leadership positions in many commands remain predominantly male, female sailors sometimes must report concerns to supervisors who may not fully understand the seriousness of the situation. In some investigations, complaints about harassment were dismissed as personality conflicts or communication problems rather than treated as serious issues affecting crew welfare. On a destroyer, these cultural and institutional challenges can feel persistent, even for sailors who excel technically and professionally. Military culture places a strong emphasis on toughness and resilience. While those qualities are essential for operational success, they can sometimes discourage sailors from speaking openly about harassment or discrimination. Women may feel pressure to handle problems quietly rather than risk being seen as weak or disruptive to unit cohesion. These female sailors know that they face barriers and challenges, so they've built support networks instead. Many women form informal support systems with other female sailors or trusted allies aboard the ship. These networks help them navigate difficult situations, share advice, and provide encouragement during long deployments. Without those connections, the experience of serving in a heavily male-dominated environment can feel isolating and emotionally exhausting. Even everyday routines can require extra awareness. Simple activities such as changing uniforms, exercising, or moving through certain spaces on the ship sometimes require women to stay alert to their surroundings in ways male sailors rarely have to consider. Over time, this constant vigilance can take a mental toll, forcing some sailors to spend energy managing social risks rather than focusing entirely on professional development and career growth. Support networks aboard destroyers. Although female sailors make up a minority of the crew on a destroyer, social networks have become lifelines that help maintain morale, build confidence, and strengthen teamwork. For many women serving at sea, these networks are not just social groups, but practical support systems that help them navigate daily life aboard a tightly packed warship. One of the most visible examples of this dynamic in action is aboard the Arleigh Burke-class destroyer USS Hopper. During a deployment in the Philippine Sea, a group of women aboard, about 60 out of roughly 360 sailors on board, came together to create a regular gathering they called Women of Grace. The name honored the ship's namesake, Rear Admiral Grace Hopper, a pioneering computer scientist and naval leader. These support networks can be found on different destroyers and create a safe space where female sailors can share mentorship, discuss challenges, and build camaraderie away from the constant operational demands. Within these groups, sailors often exchange practical advice about shipboard life, from identifying reliable supervisors and trustworthy work partners to sharing strategies for navigating difficult workplace situations. What might look like simple activities serve a much deeper purpose. They are affirming a shared identity, building mutual trust, and offering a platform where women can speak openly about life at sea. Many women also rely on these circles to pass down survival strategies learned through experience. Senior sailors often mentor newer crew members, offering guidance on how to document incidents, protect their professional reputations, and handle challenging interactions aboard ship. This kind of peer support mirrors broader efforts across the Navy to strengthen culture and retention among women, such as newly formed Navy Women's Initiatives teams that listen to female sailors' concerns and advocate for policy changes fleet-wide. Beyond emotional support, these networks can also strengthen professional success. Female sailors often encourage one another to pursue qualifications, maintain high physical fitness standards, and excel in their technical roles. Becoming highly skilled and dependable in their jobs can give sailors greater confidence and credibility within their commands. Mentorship also helps younger sailors learn how to navigate difficult situations carefully, knowing when to speak up, when to seek support from trusted leaders, and how to build alliances with shipmates who actively support professionalism and teamwork. Over time, these shared strategies help many women not only endure the challenges of life at sea, but build successful careers within the Navy. Policies and support from U.S. Navy. The U.S. Navy has introduced several initiatives aimed at improving support, inclusion, and retention for female sailors across the fleet. In 2024, the Navy established a service-wide Women's Initiatives team, an advisory group designed to identify barriers facing women in the Navy and recommend policy improvements. The program connects representatives from multiple Navy communities with leadership offices that review policies affecting recruitment, career progression, and retention. Alongside these initiatives, the Navy maintains formal protections through equal opportunity policies that prohibit harassment and discrimination based on sex. Sailors can report issues through trained equal opportunity professionals and access expanded victim support services that include counseling, crisis intervention, safety planning, and advocacy. These programs are intended to strengthen command culture and ensure female sailors have access to resources that support both their well-being and professional development while serving at sea. Female sailors today continue to serve with skill, professionalism, and resilience aboard U.S. Navy destroyers. But their experiences also highlight areas where the Navy continues working to improve safety, culture, and support for those who serve at sea. If you believe the women serving aboard these destroyers deserve respect and continued support, please like this video and subscribe for more content about life at sea and the people who serve. And we'd love to hear your thoughts. What more could destroyers do to improve protection and safety for female sailors? Let us know in the comments. Their service, professionalism, and resilience continue to strengthen the Navy every single day.